Lesson 13.1. And it's graphing on a number line. And the reason that we have to graph on a number line is that we're working with inequalities. Meaning that we have to show numbers that are greater than or less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So let's review. Remember, the direction that the symbol is pointing tells you greater than or less than. If it's pointing to the right, it means the numbers that are greater than. If it's pointing to the left, it means the numbers that are less than. If it has a line underneath it, then you say greater than or what? Or equal to. This one's pointing to the left and it has a line under it. So this is less than or equal to. Okay? Now let's talk about how to graph these. If you're graphing an inequality, that's what this is called, is an inequality. And it says 5 is greater than n. Okay? Now, whenever you're graphing on a number line, you're graphing what the variable is. 5 is greater than n, and that means that n is what?
Less.
N is less than 5, and that's what it says in your notes. Take out your notes right now because we're referring to your notes. N is less than 5. Okay? Now, I think it's important to know that when a variable is written first in the inequality, so n is less than 5, the n is first and the number is second. Roy, I think you should pay attention here. Okay? N is first, n is written first, then the symbol, and then the number. When it's written this way, this arrow, the symbol, points the same direction as the way that you draw the arrow on the number line. So first, mark 5 on a number line. And we have to mark it with an open dot. Now, this is an open dot. It's not filled in. We call it an open dot. And those dots go with either the greater than sign or the less than sign. Whenever you have a greater than sign or a less than sign, you mark the number with an open dot. Okay? Whenever that's the symbol, one of these two, it doesn't have the equal sign underneath it, you use an open dot to mark the number. Is that clear?
Yeah.
You just look for this symbol, and if it has either of these two symbols, use an open dot. If it has the equal sign underneath it, then you use a, what? A solid dot. So let's go back to this one. We mark the 5 with an open dot, and then reread it. It says n is what? What is this symbol?
Less than.
Less than. N is less than 5. And notice that this arrow is pointing toward the n, and it's also pointing to the left on the number line. Those are the numbers that are less than 5. Do you remember how to do this? Everyone remember this? Nod your head if you remember this. Okay, good, good. Now, this one is 5 is greater than or equal to n. If you change it to n is less than or equal to 5, does that mean the same thing? Look at these two expressions. Do they mean the same thing? Yeah. Yeah. This one, the first one, 5 is greater than or equal to n. Notice that the arrow is pointing at the end, right? Is the arrow pointing to the end in this one?
Yeah.
Yes. We just turn the whole thing around. so that we're writing the variable first. The n is first in this way. Does everybody follow me on that? You have to look up here. Pay attention. The n is written second in this inequality. The n is written first in this equality, Nate. Okay? So then we can put this arrow and the arrow on our number line, when we graph it, you can write those the same direction. What kind of dot do we have to use with this symbol? What is it?
Solid.
A solid dot. Yep. Because 5 is a possible answer. See, this says n is less than or equal to 5. So 5 is a possible answer. That's why you use a solid dot. Okay? Now, here's what we're going to do with this. That was review from before. Here's what we're going to do with this now. We're going to solve some inequalities and then graph the solutions. So we're going to be building off of what we learned last chapter on solving equations and then graphing. So, if the inequality says k minus 7, if we insert a plus sign, not now. You don't have a pen?
Well, I can't hand in a worksheet with pen on it, and if I
Well,
make
then
a
you'll have to
mistake.
wait till I'm done teaching, and then do this, okay? Don't sharpen the pencil in the middle of while I'm teaching you, okay? It's a little distracting. Okay, back on track. Look, -7. How do we get rid of the -7 from before? Remember? Add 7, yep. Add 7. Now, the rule is if you add 7 to one side, you have to do what? Add it to the other side. So k is, now, is it equal to? Or what symbol? Emily, don't. What symbol do we have? What symbol are we using? Are we using the equal sign? Brett, what is this sign? It's the less than sign. We have to use the less than sign. So k isn't equal to 8. K is less than 8. So, we have to use this line as our number line. Turn that into our number line. Put 0 in the middle. And now mark 8 on the right side of 0. Anywhere is fine. We don't need any more numbers. Now we have to mark it with a dot. No, solid or open? Look back in your notes if you don't remember. Does it have a equal sign underneath?
No.
No, so it's an open dot. Alex. Roy. Now, which way does the arrow go? To the left. Why? Which is the number written first or the variable written first? The variable is written first and then the number, which means that this arrow and this arrow, when we draw the arrow from 8, point the same direction. So draw a line from the top of the circle and draw it left. That means that k is less than 8. And that's how you graph it. Okay? questions? Hey.
What does K equal?
K equals anything that's less than 8. In other words, yeah, it could be any number less than 8. Yep. K could be any. What would be a real life situation where you have an inequality? Can you think of any? How about speed limit signs? Do they refer to an inequality? Yeah. The speed limit of 60 miles per hour. Do you have to drive 60 miles per hour? Not exactly. Could you drive less than 60 miles per hour? Can you drive 60 miles per hour? Yes. And so, the inequality is 60, the speed. Your speed has to be less than or equal to 60. Okay, that's an example of an inequality. It's when you don't have to have an exact number, you would just have to have something either greater than, or less than, or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. And there's all kinds of real life situations with that. Okay? Weight limits and elevators, or capacity for, if you're going boating or fishing, there's a weight limit or a person's limit. Okay? Those are all examples. Carson. Any number less than 8. Because that solves the inequality that's given. That's the solution. So all you're asked to do, Carson, is to find what K is, and we know based on this that K is less than 8. That means K is any number less than 8. Because it says it's less than 8. That's what this means. K is less than 8. It just says that. And we have to graph it with a graph. Okay? We don't have to find the exact number. We just have to find what the maximum is in this case. We might have to find what the minimum is. Okay? That's what inequalities are. Maximums and minimums amounts. Nate.
Sometimes like on the highway.
Is this a question? Alright, we're going to go on then so that we can you can get some more help on these. Let's review. How do you solve a fraction one? Jen? Okay, 1 in front of the R, and then multiply by the reciprocal. So in this case, we're going to multiply it by 3 over 1. And then 3 on the other side. We don't need to multiply it by over 1 because the negative 2 is a whole number. So 3 over 1, cross off the 3's, so R. What symbol do we have? Brett?
Greater than or equal to.
And then what's the answer?
-6.
Negative 6. So then, a solid or an open dot?
Solid.
A solid dot. Which way should the arrow point?
To the right.
Abby? Yes. Because R is greater than negative 6. Number 3. Jeremiah? How do you solve a multiplication inequality? You get W by itself. Not minus, not for multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division, so we have to divide by 6 on both sides. Then what? 6 divided by 6 is 1. So we have 1 W left. Yep. And what's the symbol? Max?
Oh. Great.
Less than or equal to. Yep. So let's make another line. Mark 0. Then what? Nate?
On the left side, you put a solid dot,
Wait,
As
on the
a-
left side. The left side of what?
but it's a solid, so why didn't you put it, on the right
First you have to
side?
mark the number.
Oh,
So what should we put under the mark?
3,
Yep.
then you put a solid dot.
Then our
pointing
solid
to
dot.
the left.
And the arrow goes to the left. Okay? And last one. How do you solve one with an addition sign? It's an addition equation. You have to add what? Alex?
-5.
Yep. On both sides. So x is what, Ariana? What's the symbol? Greater than, and then add the numbers. 3 plus -5. Not 2, it can't be positive 2. It has to be -2. So mark 0. Then what? Mark -2 with an open dot,
Open.
arrow to the right. Okay? All right, on the back side, at the top, there are similar questions. And then they give you the number line already. Then it says number 5. Let's do number 5 together. 5 and 6 are similar. Which of the numerical values, 7, 8, or 9, are solutions? Meaning that would make this true. You have to put the number in and see if it makes it true. Does 7 minus 6 greater than 2, does that make it true?
No.
Nope. That one's false. How about 8 minus 6 is greater than 2?
No.
Is it greater than 2?
No.
No, that's equal to, so that's false.
9.
So then x has to be 9. Do the same thing for number 6. Now it says, write an inequality based on this table. I know you can't read it up here. This is a table for comparing heights of mountains. Oh, one is a mountain actually, Mount Everest. One is a tree, and then the Empire State Building. It says x is a person, the height of any person, to the height of the Empire State Building. That would mean if we're representing the person with x, would they be less than, greater than, equal to, less than or equal to?
Greater than.
Less than the height of the Empire State Building. So let's use E for Empire State Building. Oops. E is for Empire State Building, okay?
E is for
How about, what can we use for a variable for tree? T. And N is the height of a mountain. I don't know why N, maybe M would be more appropriate. And H for the height of a house versus Mount Everest. And again, you could use maybe M for Mount Everest. And so on. So write some inequalities there, okay? Any questions?
Can I
Nate?
sharpen my pencil?
No.
Sharpen
Any other questions?
I
Alex?
have to do the whole thing.
Yes.
Nuggets.
Okay.